All right, what is good, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mass Reviewer back again with another review, and today we are doing a review for Cars. Yeah, this is a first-time watch for me, actually, surprisingly. I've heard like very good things about the Cars franchise from two of my friends. I have one friend who he actually said it was his favorite movie of all time. I had a discussion with him a few months ago about like our favorite movies and stuff, and he said that Cars was like his favorite movie as a kid. And I had another friend that he's like a big race car fan, and so he also said that he loved the Cars movies when he was growing up. I never saw them. I think I actually did see the third one in theaters around the time that came out, but I never saw the original. Like I probably saw clips here and there, but I never saw the original or the second one in its entirety, and so this is a first-time watch for me. And yeah, it's for a viewer recommendation, and the only real like background I have in terms of racing and stuff is, I don't know, I saw the movie Turbo when I was a kid, but that's like with the snail racing, and so besides that, I did play a lot of, like I think about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I had like a bit of a Forza Horizon 5 phase where I played that a lot. So yeah, racing, it's cool. It's definitely something that it's not the most fun thing to watch, but it is fun to like when you're the one that's racing. I think it is pretty cool. And so yeah, we will just get into it, starting off with the plot. So the plot is basically Lightning McQueen. He is this upcoming rookie that is about to win a Piston Cup, which is the trophy that you get when you win like this big race. And so he is in a race against there's like these two other like big competitors, I forgot his name, I'm gonna check real quick. Right, so there's Chick Hicks and Strip Weathers. Strip Weathers is the current champion, and Chick Hicks is like the runner-up, I guess, with Lightning McQueen being the rookie. So they have this race, and Lightning McQueen, he decides he's not going to get a fresh new set of tires, and so he just continues the race without making a pit stop to show off like his very reckless kind of nature of like wanting to be the first one, like just focusing on just wanting to be the first one to make it at the end. And so he does end up losing his tires, and so like it's a very close call at the end, but then ultimately they do decide that it's a tie, so then they say, okay, we're going to redo the race in about a week. And so then, yeah, that happens. Then Chick challenges Lightning McQueen, basically saying like, oh, he'll make it to California first, which is where the race is going to take place. And so they are on their way, like all the racers are now on their way to California. And similar to like how it went down in the race, Lightning McQueen basically says to his truck, the truck that's like driving him there, Mac, he tells him, like, we're not gonna stop for the night to rest. We're gonna like just keep going, because it just his nature is that he wants to be like he wants to win constantly. He wants to be the fastest and the first one to make it to the finish. So yeah, because that ends up happening, Mac is tired, and so he kind of starts falling asleep on the road. Lightning McQueen is also sleeping at the time. There are these cars that are on the road as well that start messing with Mac, and it leads to Lightning McQueen accidentally falling out of the truck, and then he ends up getting separated from Mac, and he ends up, I don't remember the specifics of how this goes down, but I think he ends up getting chased down by, okay, so eventually there's this police car that I think he's like going too fast at a certain point, and then he ends up getting chased down by this police car, and so Lightning McQueen ends up in this place, Radiator Springs, where he ends up accidentally, like through a series of like antics and stuff, he ends up accidentally destroying the road there. So he is now under arrest, and the movie basically now becomes he needs to pave the road as like for compensation, like as like a form of payment, I guess, like so that he won't be arrested. Either like, okay, since you destroyed a road, you now have to pave it again. And so the movie is basically now Lightning McQueen, he has to pave this road, and while he's there, he kind of like grows attached to this town of like all these cars, where it's like Radiator Springs, it's this area that a lot of people used to come to, but then they built this interstate road that made it like a lot shorter. It was like a much shorter travel time, but it means that like no one goes to Radiator Springs, which is like a much nicer kind of looking place, which has like a lot better views and stuff. And so there's a big like emphasis in this movie about it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's like you don't have to be the first one to make it, because you end up like missing out on like, I don't know, the good things that are on the way there to get there, I guess. So yeah, Lightning McQueen at the start of the film, he does not really have any friends, and throughout the film he does kind of bond with a lot of the people that are in Radiator Springs. And yeah, so I'm kind of just going to skip ahead, but then eventually he does manage to, so yeah, he grows attached to this town, but eventually the judge that initially sentenced him to, the judge actually, Doc Hudson, he was this previous race car champion, and he initially sentences Lightning McQueen to just leave. Like, he doesn't want a racer to get involved with their town, so he tells him that he could just go. But then Sally, this Porsche that is in the town, she basically like says like, no, come on, we need like this road to be paved. Otherwise, it's like we're not going to get any customers anytime soon, and we're already struggling here. So she convinces everyone to make him stay and pave the road and stuff. And so anyway, eventually Doc Hudson, like after, I'm skipping a lot here, but Doc Hudson, he ends up calling the like Lightning McQueen's team to come pick him up and stuff, and so he goes to California for the final race and stuff. At this point, though, he is so attached to the town of Radiator Springs and the people there that it's like he's not focused on the race itself, and so he does end up starting to trail behind, and he's like not focused on the race, and so he is. It seems like he's going to start losing, but then Doc Hudson and the rest of the crew, Mater, I didn't mention him up until this point, but Mater, yeah, that like the pretty iconic characters from this franchise. But Mater, he is also there along with some other cars that work from Radiator Springs. They come and they act as Lightning McQueen's pit crew. They help him out. Doc Hudson acts as Lightning's chief instructor kind of guy. That like earlier in the movie they mentioned that like he doesn't have one, and he says he doesn't want one. He works solo and stuff. So at this point he learns like the value of like friendship and like having people to support you and stuff. And so yeah, final race happens and things are going well for Lightning McQueen. He's about to win, but Chick Hicks, who up until this point he's been portrayed as like this jerk and stuff, that he's willing to win at all costs, even if it is like through unsportsmanlike means. And so he does end up like causing. Here, Chick ends up causing Strip Weathers, the current champion. He ends up causing him to like crash and stuff. And so Lightning is about to win, but then he stops before he reaches the finish line, and he goes back to help Strip Weathers so that he could finish his final race with like I guess dignity or something like that. And so. Yeah, Strip Weathers finishes. Well, Chick Hicks, he's the first one to pass the finish line, and then so does Strip Weathers, and so does Lightning McQueen. And yeah, so no one really, everyone's upset at Chick's because he cheated kind of to win, but everyone now everyone is rooting for everyone roots for the race is over at this point, but everyone is cheering for Lightning McQueen and Strip Weathers, I guess, and so. Yeah, then Lightning is offered, his whole motive at the start of the movie was that he wants to get a sponsorship by Dynaco, who are the ones that are in charge of the whole race, this racing circuit, I guess. And so he wants to get a sponsorship from them, but then ultimately by the end of the movie he does get he is offered sponsorship by them. But he decides to reject it, and he's going to stick with the people that were with him from the start. This Rusty's sponsorship that gave him this big break. But at first, at the start of the movie, it's he doesn't really like them too much because he kind of views them as lesser, I guess. And now he does have an appreciation for them as well as the other cars and stuff that were in Radiator Springs and stuff. And so he does say he's going to make Radiator Springs his new headquarters. And yeah, the movie basically ends with now Radiator Springs is getting tourist attraction because Lightning McQueen is such a big figure now, and so he is making that place his headquarters. And so yeah, all's well that ends well, I guess. And so yeah, overall the plot, I'm going to give the plot, I'll give it a 3 to 5. It was all right. I didn't love it too much. There's definitely a lot of filler towards the middle. It's I think the movie is in total an hour 45 minutes or an hour. I think it's an hour 56, but then there's probably 10 minutes to the credits, so it's more an hour 45. It does feel a bit long, in the middle. It does. They spend a lot of time just in Radiator Springs, and it does feel like just a lot of filler stuff that happens. That, I don't know, there's a lot of it that I just don't really care for. But the actual starting race I thought was pretty good. The ending race I also thought was all right. I've definitely seen some more dramatic races in movies, but it was fine, I guess. In terms of the characters, Lightning McQueen was fine. I don't really, to be honest, none of the characters I really love. Mater was all right. Sally, she was fine. Doc Hudson, I think Doc Hudson was the most interesting of this racer that he used to be a racer, but then it's he got in a crash, but then after he recovered, it's the way that the sponsors work and stuff, it's they said oh, you're old news, pal. It's we're giving a chance to a new rookie and stuff. So yeah, he was abandoned basically, and so I did the scene where it's he does end up where Lightning basically says why'd you quit when you were at the top of your game, and he has to say you think I quit and stuff. And so I thought that was a good scene. Besides him, Strip Weathers is fine. Chick Hicks is also serving his role all right as the antagonist, I guess, of the film. And besides them, there is the cars from Radiator Springs. They're all right. I don't have any strong feelings for any of them. I'm just gonna go a 5 out of 10 for the characters. I don't really have they're not good, but they're not bad. I would say so, just a 5 out of 10. In terms of the settings, I do think there are actually some pretty nice settings, especially Radiator Springs itself. It's fine, but there are some nice locations where it's Sally, who is again the Porsche, also acts as the love interest for Lightning McQueen. She ends up taking Lightning on this drive through this road to show him this old gas station that everyone used to go to or something like that. or it might not. It might have been like some other hotel that is different from the hotel that she currently runs in Radiator Springs. But anyway, she shows him this view that's up on the mountainside, and it does look like really nice. All the mountainside views, I think, look very good. Besides that, the actual racing areas, they're fine. Just basic racing areas. Those are fine for racing films. And besides that, there's like a lot of just desert areas, I guess, that is the bulk of where this film takes place. And so overall, the settings, I'll just give it there's a few good shots, but most of it I don't really care for too much. But I'll be very generous. I'll just give it like a 5.5. I'll say decent settings, not really any of the best, I would say. So yeah, in terms of the visuals, I think that the art style, it is Pixar. It's 2006, which is actually a lot more recent than I would have expected. I thought that this would have come out. I thought this came out in like the early 2000s, but 2006 does feel like a lot later than I would have guessed. This came out like 1 year before I was actually born, so that is, yeah, surprising to me. It looks fine. I don't love this art style. I think the whole like world of these cars, like anthropomorphic cars, I guess it's not like the best world, I would say. And yeah, the actual like visuals and stuff of it looks fine. It's not really one of my favorites though. And the I like the racing visuals. Like anytime there's like racing stuff going on, when it's like the cars going fast, that looks cool, because just watching like fast cars racing and stuff, that's always just cool to watch. Yeah, but honestly, the visuals, it's like nothing great, I would say. I'm just gonna give it probably like I'm just gonna go like a 5 out of 10. I'm gonna say it's fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just, yeah, I've seen definitely better, I would say. In terms of the comedy, yeah, apparently it's listed as a comedy. There wasn't really too many moments. I think a lot of like probably the best jokes came from Mater, I would say. Mater, like, not a lot, but there were some good lines that Mater had that I did find humorous. And so I will go like I'm going to be generous. I'll give it like a 5.5 just for some of the Mater bits, I would say. And yeah, in terms of the worst thing I would probably say is just that the fact that like the middle section where it's like lightning is actually in Radiator Springs, there is just a lot of filler moments that I just found kind of boring, and I was just like waiting for something a bit more interesting to happen. So I would say that just any of the filler moments that I just found boring, I would give like a 4.5. Like when Mater and Lightning, they were tipping cows or something like that. Anything involved with the cows, I didn't really like that much. I don't know, it felt long. It felt like just kind of boring, this town of Radiator Springs. It's like the racing sequences, like at the start and towards the end, were a bit more, engaging, entertaining, I guess. And so just the middle section of like when there wasn't any action going on of like the racing and stuff, it just wasn't as interesting, I would say. In terms of the best, so the worst thing, I'm going to say a 4.5 for any for kind of the middle section of the film, I would say. In terms of the best thing, I would say that the best thing was probably the racing sequences, I would say. I did think that the racing sequences were, I'd give them like, I don't know, it's not like the best racing I've seen ever, but it was all right. I would give it like, yeah, I think like maybe a 5.5. So I'll go like a 5.5, I guess, for the racing sequences. The comedy, I also give a 5.5, as well as the settings, I gave a 5.5. So I guess just a 5.5 for all of those aspects, I would say. So yeah. Any extra notes I do have, I did like the ending of like Lightning, he's about to cross the finish line. It is like, I don't know, maybe he could have just like crossed the finish line anyway and then gone back to help. I think he just wanted to make it so that like on Stripweather's final race, he didn't want him to finish last, so he did ultimately help him like to get second place. So, but I thought that was like a good ending. It does show that like he's grown and he doesn't care about winning anymore. He more cares about like the destination, the journey, and the people that he can share the journey with, I guess. And so, in terms, and as well as the post-credit scene, there was a post-credit scene where it's like all the cars are at this car drive-in movie theater, and they have like these car versions of like Pixar films. So they had Toy Story, they had Monsters Inc., and they had A Bug's Life, and there was the voice actor that voiced Mac in this film. Also, he voices like I forgot the name of the characters. It's been a while since I've seen the movies, but the pig from Toy Story, he voices the Abominable Snowman from Monsters Inc., as well as, I never actually saw A Bug's Life, but that is going to be a movie that I do see soon for a viewer recommendation as well, so I will see that when the time comes. So yeah, that was I like that. It wasn't like a post-credit scene, it was like it's like Pixar a lot of the time, it's like as the credits are going, it's like they'll show like some extra footage like from points of the movie either after or like before or in the middle or something like that. So it was during that section, so I thought that was also pretty good, I would say. And yeah, that is all the extra notes. So I'm going to do the calculations. So King Crimson. All right, so it ends up coming out to about a 5 out of 10, which would be not good or bad, but honestly, I think I'd give it like a bit higher than that. I think probably like between a 5.5 to a 6, I would give it between decent and above average, but honestly, I think I am going to be kind of harsh with it. I think I'm just going to, for now, give it a 5.5. I'd say it was decent. I think it was overhyped for me. I think my friends, they were saying like, oh, it's such a great film. It's like, it's so one of our favorite movies from our childhood. And I just don't fully agree with that. Like, I guess I'm not nostalgic for the film. Maybe if I was, then I would give it a bit higher, but I would just give it probably like a 5.5. It was decent. It's definitely, doesn't work as well for me as I guess for other people, I would say. So yeah, anyway, that is pretty much all there is to it. So if you have any recommendations, any shows, movies, video game stories, anime, manga, web series, anything that you want me to review, leave it in the comments and I'll maybe possibly check it out. With that said, that is pretty much all there is to it. So let's leave it at that.